The following program has been rated PG-13.
What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of the Israel Wake Up Call, and what a topic we have to talk about today. Now, many of you are already familiar with what presidential candidate Joe Biden had to say to the so-called black community, right? So there may be a lot of you who have no idea what he said. So what I want to do, I want to take a moment and remind you of what this man had to say when it comes to the black community. All right? Here we go.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. Come on. Take a look at the record.
You know, I've been critical of you. I have a few things I want to talk to you about today.
I know you have.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
No, I don't. That's why I want to get to know you today. I want to talk to you about mostly black stuff.
I get overwhelming support from the black leadership, young and old. Every poll shows me way ahead.
And black.
All right, so I feel very confident that every last one of you can agree with me when I say that nigga is crazy and out his damn mind. I mean, the audacity, and nothing that they do surprises me because they're the children of the pride. The Most High already told us that. We went over that before, but it's the sheer amount of disrespect that this man had while speaking to another black man. That's the problem that I have. And not only that, but to address that with an entire nation of people. You are not black if we don't vote for you? Nigga, this is what goodness gracious. Now, I don't know about you, but the whole time that I was sitting there watching that, I'm sitting there waiting for Charlemagne to say something like, how in the world do you just let that go by? And I don't like to speak down about our people. You know, I'm all about uplifting our people, but there's just something about Charlemagne that don't sit with me, you know, and I know he's of the world. I know that. And he calls himself Charlemagne the God. So I know just by him having that title in his name that the man, he knows he's Israel. He knows those scriptures. He knows what it is. He's not going to call himself a God without knowing that we actually are. So that's why I'm like, with him, he really perplexes me. I don't get him. I don't get his spirit. But either way, though, this white man had the audacity and the nerve to say, we are not black if we don't vote for him. And again, it just goes to show you how little they think of us. But it also goes to show you just how important it is for them that they receive our votes. And that's the topic that I want to talk about today. That's what I want to talk about. So, of course, I want you to open your Bibles to the 1611 King James Version Bible, and we are going to see what the Most High told us about voting. We're going to see. Let's get it. And the first book I want us to go to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Old Testament, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. And I want to read something here to you. And it reads, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel, not the whole world, the children of Israel and the children of Judah. And that's what we're talking about here today. Judah, the American blacks, top tribe, were oppressed together. I want y'all to understand what it just said here, that the children of Israel and Judah, because the Most High always makes a distinction between the two, we were oppressed together. So it's not just about that black vote, but it's also about the votes of the other tribes as well, collectively. And let me start this over. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So I want to show the entire premise of oppression when it comes to Israel. All right. But the main focus here we're talking about Judah. Now, I want you to go to Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 13. Now, this is about voting here, Israel. This is about voting. I want you to see what the Most High says about voting. Now, remember, we're talking about the children of Israel. And this is the book of Deuteronomy that's being told to us by who? Moses. Now, remember, the history with Deuteronomy, we just came out of slavery, out of Egyptian captivity, and the Most High is giving out the law that we are supposed to follow. Let's see what one of those laws are. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 13. Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. So what is the Most High saying right there? When he sets up rulers over us, we are to pick a person of one of the tribes of Israel. Somebody from the 12 tribes. What does that eliminate? Everyone else outside of the nation of Israel. So what's one of the laws, Israel, that the Most High said that we cannot put people over us that are not a part of Israel? So that's a problem, isn't it? So, can you understand why there's so much chaos going on in the world when it comes to the black vote? Do you always know every election season, what is the primary topic amongst every candidate? The black vote. The black vote. Why? Why do they emphasize this here so much? Because we're not supposed to be voting for them. Remember Crafty Council? Why is it always every election season that we are in the midst of the topic of voting? They always go after our community. They always do. Joe Biden just did it. Trump did it. Hillary Clinton for damn sure did it. And Barack Obama, and we're going to get into him here in a second. But they all do it. George Bush did it. George Bush Sr., Clinton, everybody always target the black vote. Why? Because we are not supposed to be voting for these people. So, a part of that crafty council, what they do, make them vote and keep them in sin. If they're out there voting for us, their God is not listening to them, which means it's going to keep these Edomites in power even longer. So now I want you to go to Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. I'm going to read this one here again for you. Watch this. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee. I'm going to read that again. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren. One from amongst your brethren. Just like Deuteronomy 1:13 said. Precept, Israel. We are not to put anyone over us that is not within Israel. I'm going to read it again. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Listen closely. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Point blank bottom line. So, for every Israelite out there under the sound of my voice, if you are voting for any person outside of the nation of Israel, you, sir, ma'am, are in sin. So you go to that ballot box and you go ahead and you tick somebody that is not of the nation of Israel, you are in sin. Point blank. That is the law that the Most High God set up for us. So now, do y'all remember the 2008 presidential season? Do y'all remember that? Do you remember a man by the name of Barack Obama? I want to show you something here really quick. And I'm going to show you just how crafty these Edomites actually are. So, without any further ado, here we go.
Now that we know Vice President Dick Cheney and Senator Barack Obama are distant cousins, the New York Post decided to check into the genealogy of President Bush, and his family tree has people talking. Early Show national correspondent Tracy Smith has the story of George W. Bush's many relations.
My honor to bring to you the 41st president, a great dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com.
What would you say if I told you he's related to all of those people?
That you're wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not. Let me take you through this, branch by branch.
The 101st Airborne Division, air assault.
Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's ninth cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the ninth cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins twice removed.
Really? What do you think of that?
Yeah, they have the same chin.
There's also royalty in the Bush bloodline. Princess Diana was Bush's 11th cousin twice removed. And then there's this bombshell.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Sure, she may have been singing to JFK, but what about GWB? He is, after all, her 9th cousin 3 times removed.
Maybe it's the eyebrows. I think the
eyebrows. They have the same eyebrows?
He's also related to Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler. Trace the family tree far enough, and you get Madonna, Celine Dion, and Tom Hanks.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
After all, genealogy can sometimes be like a box of chocolates. You never know who you're going to get. For The Early Show, Tracy Smith, no relation to George Bush that I know of. CBS News, New York.
And of course, Barack Obama has said he doesn't think he and Cheney are kissing cousins, but Brad Pitt says if it's true, he's in great company.
Did you see that? The man, first of all, we already know that he's a Hamite. He's not one of us. But do you see how he actually ties back as a family by blood to Edomites? That's his family. So they completely worked the entire black community. Worked every last one of us. The crafty council, Israel. I always tell y'all about this, that crafty council. With them, it goes so deep. You look like one of them niggas. You are going to be the one out there. You are going to be the one to be raised and reverenced. Do y'all remember do y'all remember the things that they used to do with Obama in the black community? Do y'all remember this? Do y'all remember these pictures? Do you see this, Israel? They put a crown of thorns on this man's head and made him the depiction of Christ. And our people are out there. They were wearing shirts They had this hanging up in their houses. And he's not even one of us. Crafty counsel, Israel, crafty counsel. This is why the Most High God said, y'all can't put nobody up there that is not one of you. But they said, guess what? You look like him. You look like one of them. But you're actually one of ours. And you're going to go up there and you're going to run the nation. And for those of you who are not familiar, Barack Obama has done more damage to our people than any other president known to man. Why? Because it was under his administration where he allowed same-sex marriage, furthering us Israelites being in sin. And not just any sin, but that particular one, the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah. And as we know, the Most High does not play around with that. We know it. Those other nations, they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they choose. The Bible is not for them. But when it comes to Israel, the Bible is for us. The Most High gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to follow, and their crafty counsel always has us going against that, furthering our sin and keeping us in oppression even longer. So, it's pretty safe to say, if there's no Israelite candidates that you know is Israel, you are not to be out there voting. Point blank. And if you do, now that you know this, you are in the midst of sin and you are willfully sinning. So this is up to you, Israel. This is up to you. Now, I want to read something here to you. I want to read, let's go to, what was it? 1 Corinthians chapter 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. And this is very important here because this is a chapter of wisdom that's coming from our brother Paul. I'm going to read this here to you. All right, here it is, verse 1. And I, brethren, again, talking about brethren, meaning that this is only pertaining to Israel. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you save Jesus Christ and him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom. Understand that. I'm going to read that again. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, just like them politicians get out there and do, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Now, Paul is getting to something. He's talking about the Spirit. Being in the right mind of the Spirit. Verse 5, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men. I'm going to read that again. That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men. You're not black if you don't vote for me, but in the power of God. What did the Most High tell us? Don't put anybody over you that is not an Israelite. And not only not an Israelite, but a man practicing the law. A man that's in his fringes. A man that you can tell his fruits, not only by his countenance, but also by the things that he does. Does this man observe the Sabbath? Does this man follow the law, statutes, and commandments? That's what it's saying, Israel. Verse 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. Remember, what's perfect? Keeping the commandments. Yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. Verse 7, but we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world unto our glory, which none of the princes of this world knew. I'm going to read that again. Which none of the princes of this world knew. For had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. What is Paul saying right there? Saying, if they would have known who we were, if they would have been actually smart enough to understand what it is that we are, they never would have crucified Christ. Our brethren, by the way. But as it is written, I have not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Do you hear that? Do you hear that promise there, Israel? Eyes haven't seen, nor ears have not heard the things that are coming to us. Those of us striving to keep these commandments. The things that we have come to us, we have no idea of. The absolute mystery behind it. There's going to be things that we've never seen before. Things that, our imaginations can't even bring forth the idea of what's coming to us. Those of us that follow. Verse 10. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. Verse 11. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Even so, the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. And I'm going to stop there for a second. So Israel, what is all that they're saying? That you have to be within the right spirit. You have to have wisdom. What does that mean? It means that you have to read our book, which is called the Bible. And we have to apply those laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, what was one of the laws? That we cannot put someone in power that is not Israel. If you do, you are breaking the law. So this is something here that has to be communicated. This is something here that must be spread to us throughout our community. Why? Because it's the law. That's what we must do. And if we don't, all we're doing is being controlled as their little puppets. And I'm going to say Charlemagne. I'm going to say Al Sharpton. I'm going to say all these people that will tell Israel to vote knowing we're not supposed to be doing that in the first place unless it's one of us. But you see, though, how crafty they are with, just look at the example with what they did with Obama. We have to get serious as a people, Israel. We really do. Because we've been comfortable for so long, for too long. We have been comfortable in their matrix and just allowing them to do whatever they want to do to us and them not facing any repercussion whatsoever. First of all, we need to stop voting. We need to start observing the Sabbath and stop buying from them. Do y'all remember the Montgomery Boycott? Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember when we stopped riding the buses? We stopped spending our money in their stores. So in other words, we held back our economic power. How fast did they get their minds right? It was overnight. It was absolutely overnight. And we have that power, but we don't use it. And the Most High tells us every freaking Sabbath, don't go buying from them on the day that I told you not to. That's when all the sales and everything are all set up. The Most High says, stop buying from them. Stop doing it. First of all, we need to be supporting more black businesses anyway. And we don't do it. We run right out to them. Can you imagine if everyone in the hood, so to speak, in the barrios, on the reservations, if we just stopped going to Walmart? Could you imagine that? Can you imagine the power if we didn't get out there and vote? The absolute chaos they would be in just by them trying to vote amongst themselves. Do you know why it is so important that we don't vote for them? Because they're not hearing what we are saying. That's why they have all their little agents, those Charlemagnes, and I'm sorry, those Umar Johnsons and Roland Martins, those individuals. And I say them because they'll talk about the issue, but they never give you the solution to the problem. I'm sorry. If you don't do that, you're an agent. I don't care what you say. You get mad all you want to. But it's all about us, Israel. And us withholding ourselves from their little puppeteering act. We got to get the hell out of Dodge. We got to get out of their way and pull ourselves back and just deal with each other as a community. That's what we have to do. Stop buying into their false promises. Stop buying into their lies. And I'm telling you right now, nobody should be voting for any Edomite or any other person of the nations with everything that's going on with us right now, where they're sitting there and killing our people in the streets. This year, it was just turned up. Their justice system, their judicial system does not benefit us in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So we should not be playing around with them, as the Most High told us. But unfortunately, there's going to be so many of our people that go out there and do that and continue to keep us oppressed and in sin. And with that being said, I want to go to Psalms chapter 12. Psalms chapter 12 and verse 5. And it reads, "For the oppression of the poor," speaking about us, "for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him." Why? What is the Most High talking about right there? For those children of the pride who want to puff themselves up and say, you are not black if you don't vote for me. The Most High God said, listen, if y'all just do what you're supposed to do, I'm going to put you in safety. I'm going to protect you from these people. The ones who puff up against you. Because if you were not familiar, that was nothing, that was nothing more than a puffed up chest for that white man to have the audacity to sit there and say, you are not black if you don't vote for me. I'm telling you, that was beyond disrespect. And then I'm sure he probably put out an apology by now, but there's no apologizing for anything like that. The Most High will always raise their spirits up, as he always does. So Israel, now that you know that you are not supposed to be out there voting unless it is a proven Israelite, then you should not be out there voting. You should not be heading to no ballot box. And this is the word that needs to spread throughout Israel so that we're not making the mistakes. All right, so there's really not much more that we need to talk about on that particular subject. I mean, it was very bottom line, very matter of fact. We cannot vote for these individuals. And that's just the bottom line. So I really hope that you guys take the time to spread that message, whether if you're showing this video or taking them to the scriptures, which you should have written down, okay, and show our people we can't be doing this. You have your part in this here too, Israel. Spread this word. Spread the word of the Most High as you are commanded to do. All right? And with that being said, Israel, I want you guys to have an awesome, fantastic week. And we will see each other on this Friday night Sabbath. All right? And with that being said, Israel, I love you. I'm out.